There once was a dad who set out on a great quest to find the perfect Coke flavors at his family's request. So he went into a local store and grabbed the Coke Cherry Vanilla, Coke Cherry, and more. At dinner, they sipped Coke flavors and rejoiced. For everyone made their own delicious choice. Coca-Cola flavors. Unbelievably delicious. With so many delicious Coca-Cola flavors and Coca-Cola Zero Sugar flavors options to choose from, you'll have to taste them all.
At T-Mobile, we believe in putting people first by treating them right. So we're upping the benefits without upping the price. Introducing Magenta Max. Now with unlimited premium data that can't slow down based on how much smartphone data you use. Plus, get Netflix on us. Right now, pay zero cost to switch. And bring your phone. We'll pay it off up to $650. Only at T-Mobile.
Activate up to 4K or video streams at 480p. Up to 40 gigs high-speed tethering. $650 via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. SIM and support charges waived. Receive Netflix standard with 2 lines.
It's always the worst when you're not recording and you think you're recording. But thankfully I caught it now and not later. Because how much would that have sucked
later
if we did the whole thing slamming Ethan Page?
I just would have stopped done it. I'd be like, I'm not doing anything else tonight. I'm fucking tired and I just want to go to sleep.
TheChairshot.com.
TheChairshot.com. Always use your head.
You are now listening to Chairshot Radio. Always use your head.
It is a glorious Tuesday evening as we sit here and record the Wednesday morning edition of Chairshot Radio. Of course, if you've been listening since we kicked this thing off back on January 1st with PC Tunney, Chairshot Radio is your daily fix of pro wrestling, sports, so much more. It's sports, entertainment, and sports entertainment. And you know that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you can expect me, Greg DeMarco, bringing you something fun. Yesterday was the interview from 2013 with Adam Cole, baby. You got to see just, Patrick and Greg 2 years in to podcasting, having that interview with Adam Cole and just how much we've improved and how much our technology has improved as well. And now it's Wednesday, and for the second straight week, I am joined by the Queen of Soft Style, Miranda Morales, who's having a hair emergency at the moment. But this is not a video show. It's an audio show. So we'll get it sorted out before we record her show, which is a video show. But this is the second week in a row, which is usually a bad sign, because usually when you do something twice, you just start doing it forever. And last week, I didn't get the chance, the recording failed of what I recorded for Chairshot Radio. This week, I just flat out didn't do it. And it was just like, well, I know that Miranda will do it. So here we are today. Got a fun topic to talk about, but just give you some basic information. I'll do it out of order. You know what? I've already mentioned her. She is on the Instagram and the Facebook at #Miranda for the second week in a row, third week overall. She is joining us on Chairshot Radio. You already know it's Miranda Morales.
Yes, I feel like, yeah, you're right. That's how I even got involved with the chair shot. Like, I left. I came and I never left.
It's kind of like, it'd be a funnier story. It's not true. Remember the time that we accidentally called Alex Chamberlain? And it'd be kind of like if we accidentally called you the very next week and you were just like, well, I'm here now. And did that. But no, that's the story of Miranda and Greg. Basically showed up one day and just said, yeah, I'm staying. And we both did the same thing.
That's pretty much how I do a lot of my life. I just come around and then I never leave. Yeah, so no, but I love doing Chair Shot Radio actually. So maybe it will become our little tradition on Tuesdays. Who knows? If it works out, great. But I love being on this week's episode. As you mentioned, we have a great topic, one both you and I are definitely very interested in discussing. So I'm excited.
And also for the second straight week, I stole a topic from the #Miranda Show and we made it the Chairshot Radio.
That is also true. So look, this whole organizing thing just happens kind of at random.
That's what we do.
We throw out ideas and topics and Greg will produce and let me know what's going to be a good topic for the Babyface Heel podcast, for #Miranda Show, and now for Chairshot Radio. So.
It just happens. And that's the glory of
genius
chemistry.
just works in those type of fluid ways.
It's when you combine genius and chemistry, magic happens, and that's when. Wait till you guys listen to the hashtag Miranda show. That's genius and chemistry.
So genius, you
and
guys.
Nothing else. Trust me.
So smart.
And it's going to be beautiful.
Just
a couple bits of information, of course. You know, Chairshot Radio is part of the Chairshot Radio Network, which you can hear at thechairshot.com.
Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
Social media is at Chairshot Radio. Of course, Chairshot Radio and thechairshot.com are all about sports, entertainment, and of course, our bread and butter, sports entertainment. So tune in, be a part of it all. We love the support. We love having you here. This is every single day, every single morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. This gets released on thechairshot.com. It gets released at 6 a.m. across all of your favorite podcasting platforms like Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Google Play, and so many more. Like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. Be a friend, tell a friend, help us grow this. And of course, you will love it just as much as we do. And Miranda, there's another way that people can support. This is why I keep having you do the Wednesday thing, just so I don't have to talk about t-shirts. That's all it is.
Well, then in that case, Greg, why don't you go ahead and wind it up? Yes, it is indeed time for you to go to ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot to get your very own Chairshot t-shirt today. There you can find over 25 different t-shirt designs, all in support of thechairshot.com. T-shirts start off at $19.99, but hey, if you want to spend a few extra dollars, you can customize, get different kinds of colors and styles, including, yes, the one, the only soft style. So go ahead and pick up your t-shirts. Of course, some are there in support of different podcasts, including Bandwagon Nerds, A Winner Is You, the hashtag Miranda shows, Queen of Soft Style shirt. Everybody hates Greg because, you know, the truth hurts. But don't worry, we got you covered at ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot. Don't forget, lots of t-shirt designs and varieties to choose from, including IZW Impact Zone Wrestling. Shirts are available there as well. So go to ProWrestlingTees.com/thechairshot to get your very own Chairshot t-shirt today.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey folks, PC Tunney here. Thanks to our new partnership with Angry Lemonade, you can save 10% on physical products and digital commissions using the promo code ChairShot. Head to angrylemonade.net to check out their amazing catalog of products and services. Use the promo code ChairShot to save 10%. That's angrylemonade.net.
People can't see it because this isn't the video show, but I am like Miranda during intermission of an IZW show. I have my feet up, I'm kicking back, and because this isn't on video, I'll sit up straight for the hashtag Miranda show. But Miranda, take it away.
Yes, so this past Saturday, at AEW Revolution, there was a very interesting match that was set up called the Face of the Revolution Ladder Match. And in this match, you had 6 competitors who were vying for the opportunity to earn a title opportunity for the TNT championship match against Darby Allin. Now, there were 6 men that were advertised in this match. However, you know, there was a mystery man that they had advertised or had noted that was going to be in this match. So as far as the competitors already announced, you had Penta El Zero M, Pentagon, Lance Archer, Cody Rhodes, Max Caster, Scorpio Sky, and then the mystery entrant. That mystery entrant turned out to be All Ego Ethan Page, one half of the North. Many people know his work from Impact Wrestling. He left Impact technically late last year, but it didn't come to fruition as far as on TV until earlier this year. His contract with Impact Wrestling was up and he decided to leave. And so many people speculated, you know, where he was going to go next. We knew he wanted to go to, you know, greener pastures and bigger ventures. And we see him show up on AEW as part of this ladder match. And so this is something Greg and I wanted to talk about because we have talked about Ethan Page before on the hashtag Miranda show, especially when he left Impact Wrestling, where we would like to see him next, you know, what's happening next in his career. And he ends up in AEW. And I'm not going to speak for Greg yet. I just tend to do that, but not at this moment. But I have to admit, was it a pleasant surprise? Yes. Are my expectations high or even at par for this? No. And I don't know. Is that the same Is that the same reaction you have about Ethan Page, coming on board to AEW? Now, it hasn't been, is it official that he is, we don't see that, Ethan Page is all elite yet, but
I thought we did.
Like,
I thought we saw that.
Did we?
They released a T-shirt already, which is what they do.
Oh, so, then yeah, they probably, if they're making money
he's all elite.
He's probably
he's definitely all elite. I wasn't pleasantly surprised at all. I would have been more surprised if it wasn't him. Well, I know that's not fair for me to say. I take that back. That's revisiting history and making myself sound smarter than I really am, which I do. On time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, that's why.
I'll happily do that, but not this time. No, but when he came out, I think my reaction was like, of course it's him. Like, that's kind of what it was more like. Like, oh, of course it's Ethan Page. Because this is where he belongs, to be all honest with you. Yeah. Like, this is where he's at. The very first edition of the brand new format of the Babyface Heel podcast, we talked about Ethan Page. And the reason why we talked about Ethan Page was because he came out and basically railing against the Ethan Page versus the Karate Man match that took place on Impact's pay-per-view. I think it was Hard to Kill. And yes. Talked about how it wasn't his vision. They should have just let him do it, blah, blah, blah. And it struck me as, you're putting yourself above the company. And I said it then. He might as well go to AEW because it will never work in WWE. If he got that upset over the match between himself and the Karate Man, which he wanted a match between himself and himself to be taken more seriously. Think about that for a minute. That completely turned him from serious pro wrestler that I've always loved to,
oh, hey, Mark.
In my opinion, like, there's no bigger fan of Ethan Page than Ethan Page. And I'd say that it's not a compliment. And I think, unfortunately, most of the roster in AEW is like that. Not everybody, but there's a good portion of it, including those running the company. The guy at the top of the helm, one of the EVPs, Kenny Omega, like, they're just marked for themselves. And in some way, you've got to be confident, right? You've got to believe in yourself. But there's a big difference in believing yourself and believing your own hype and being that mark for yourself and just a mark in general. And that's what I think he is right now. Could it change? Yeah, it could still change. But he comes walking out. He's got this big smile on his face. And it's just like, it made sense. But here's the thing. Sometimes things just make sense. And you're like, of course that makes sense. Other times things make sense for all the wrong reasons. And I feel like this one is making sense for all the wrong reasons.
It's a good point because of just what you said, that AEW, it has being, an artist's company. And I know that this concept of pro wrestling being an art form is a very polarizing opinion, but I do think that those really involved in AEW, going back to, the way that they view themselves, they view wrestling as an art form. They view what they do as an art form to the point where they want to have that artistic ability to do what they want in the ring, outside of the ring. I do feel like it's an alignment with AEW as far as bringing someone on board who has some, popularity in wrestling, but maybe hasn't ever got that chance to shine. But you talked on the Babyface Heel podcast about history repeating itself. I kind of feel like this is just, you talked about LA Knight and EC3 kind of repeating itself. I think this is Shawn Spears all over again. Bringing someone in who is very much of a mid-card talent that has a lot of potential, hyping them up as this big singles competitor, and then it falling flat and it not coming to fruition. So that's where my expectations are set very low. I feel like this is Shawn Spears all over again, because when you think about, even when Shawn Spears first came on board, he had a pretty good storyline entry with Cody. Now, I know that big chair shot to the head, left a lot of people kind of stunned, and maybe it stunted that storyline to the point where it didn't go to the lengths it could have. But really, after that, we didn't see anything of Shawn Spears, and we still really haven't. And so I feel that's going to be the exact way for Ethan Page, that they're already starting to build up their roster to the point where they don't know what to do with everyone. So, maybe Ethan will be a pretty decent staple on AEW Dark, but I don't see him in anything big profile because of exactly what you said, too. You have all of the members of the Elite taking up a lot of these big stories, and not really having room to bring in other people. And maybe they view themselves as this, place to give opportunities for people to reignite their career, take it into a different direction. But also we've seen who really has done that really in just this past year. Not a whole lot. And I don't see that changing.
Yeah, a lot of people go to AEW because they want to have control of their own fate, but really you don't. Your fate is in the hands of Cody, Kenny, Nick, Matt, and Tony in the end. Like, that's really what it is. And they're always going to pick themselves first. I mean, 3 of those 4 hold titles right now in the company. And I'm so sad that Cody didn't wait a little bit longer to lose a TV title. So all 4 of them could be the 4 main champions in the company. And that brings us to where we are today. The thing about Ethan Page, here's the difference between Ethan Page and Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears had the WWE run first. He had the gimmick. He was the 10 guy. He was the perfect 10. He came out number 10 in the Royal Rumble not once but twice. And the first time he did it, people were begging for it.
Oh, yeah.
And look, in 2019, we were sitting in the crowd. I kind of wanted it to happen again. It didn't. That's actually where Seth Rollins entered and won from. But I was begging for it on the inside. And he wasn't even in that Royal Rumble. And then he was gone. But to me, it's just... that's the big difference is Ethan Page never got that WWE run, and so he wasn't out there trying to prove the WWE didn't use him properly. To me, it's just I think everything that came out with the Karate Man video is he wants that kind of control and doesn't want to be controlled like WWE would control him. I still think he could end up in WWE someday. Here's the problem. Had he entered WWE now, he would have been a clean slate. Yes, he worked the Indies. Yes, he worked Impact. But let's be honest. To most of the WWE fan base, they don't know who the hell Ethan Page is.
Mm-hmm.
And now more of them do because there is that overlap with AEW that exists in the 950,000 people that watch wrestling on a Wednesday night and account for 1.5 million in the ratings because the ratings are weird. That'll rear its head once NXT moves to Tuesdays. But now we're going to know more about him, and when he goes to NXT, he's going to be different, and it's not going to be that clean slate that I think it would be right now. It's just weird. Like, a lack of self-awareness is really detrimental in life, not just in wrestling. It really is detrimental in wrestling. We've all seen it firsthand, in person, live in front of our faces, and we laugh about it privately. But it's just not beneficial to someone in wrestling. Like, you talk about a Randy Orton, right? One of the greatest professional wrestlers of this or any generation, knows exactly who he is. All right. You can't watch the Firefly Funhouse match from WrestleMania 36 and not realize John Cena knows exactly what he is and has all along. Okay, Roman Reigns knows exactly what he is. Drew McIntyre does too. For all the things I complain about him and the fact that his promos sometimes come off weak and actually are detriment to him, he knows what he is and he knows where he is. And a lot of the most successful people in WWE do, or they discover it while they're there, and that's when they take off. Ethan Page's self-view of himself, that sounds brilliant, but Ethan Page's view of himself doesn't match reality. And that's when you become a mark. And that's the way it is for a lot of people in AEW. So he's a good fit there. Why I'm sad, and I shouldn't be, is that I see the potential for greatness. And I used to always get hammered by Patrick O'Dowd on the Greg DeMarco show for continually using the P word with Impact Wrestling, and that was potential. And then the potential was there for so much more. And even with WWE, they weren't meeting their potential. And a lot of times Impact was closer to their potential in WWE, and that's why I favored them for a while. Mm-hmm. Ethan Page's potential will probably never be met. And that's kind of a shame because I honestly think he could have been a big star in WWE, and instead he's going to be a middle-of-the-road star. I don't know if he's going to be a fixture on Dark or if he's going to end up stuck in some stable, and if he's going to be the third video game player along with Kip Sabian and Miro, or when whatever crumbles are left of the Inner Circle, if he's a part of it. I don't know. I don't see him flying solo very long because AEW likes to align people. Maybe somehow he doesn't seem to fit in with like the Acclaimed. He wouldn't fit in with Team Taz. This whole Dark Order Hangman Page thing, I don't even get it. I think Hangman Page would have been much better off with the faux horsemen with Shawn Spears and FTR, but that's not working out either. So I don't know where he fits, but I'm sure we'll know that soon enough. And maybe tonight on Dynamite, maybe not. But much like Hangman Page and much like Santana and Ortiz, I feel like he went to the wrong place. But maybe I'm wrong because of that whole self-awareness thing. Maybe it would never worked in NXT. I don't know. And We'll never know. Let's take a quick commercial break before we wrap things up on Ethan Page on Chairshot Radio.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is your boy Kenny Killer telling you to make sure you check out thechairshot.com, bringing you breaking news, interviews, podcasts galore, everything pro wrestling. Make sure you check it out, thechairshot.com.
So of everything that we've said about Ethan Page and where he should go versus where he did go, he went to AEW. That's just what it is. He's there now.
Yeah, that's fact.
What's the ceiling? What does he accomplish there?
That's a good point. Because as you mentioned, even before, I mean, his most recent work in Impact, he's known as a tag team person. And so seeing what he can do individually, I mean, not very far. I think maybe an opportunity at the TNT TV Championship, that would be probably as far as he gets. Maybe if he forms a solid tag team, have a tag team opportunity. But I don't really see a title in his future, only because also when you think about who's already there, who's already been kind of working and fighting for those spots, it's definitely become a lot more competitive over the past year. So unless there's some major spark that happens, he is kind of at the back of the line. So yeah. I feel like, if anything, this is a great opportunity to showcase him as a singles talent, of course, but and get him in front of a larger national audience. But just looking at the landscape of AEW, that's why even Dark is so heavy on content, because that's the only place that they can put all of their wrestlers on TV or on YouTube on a weekly basis, because TV time is already taken up by the Dark Order, by the Elite, by, the Inner Circle. I mean, like there's just spots taken, and they're not going anywhere for quite some time. So, maybe as far as the trade-offs between that and what NXT could offer, who knows? I would like to think though too. I mean, someone who also recently left Impact that have had a really great run so far, the Rascals, aka MSK. They left, and they, again, as a tag team though, have had a phenomenal run so far in NXT. They've won the Dusty Tag Team Classic, in just their first few matches in NXT. So, and maybe it is going back to your point. They knew what they were getting into, and were ultimately they'll be rewarded for that. WWE saw the potential in them, and think about all the other teams that have won the Dusty Classic. That really puts them in a top contendership for those, NXT tag team titles. So, sometimes you go with where your gut takes you, and it takes you into a place that maybe you're not going to be shining for quite some time, but you're at peace with, the creative decisions that you get, compared to, getting to more of a prestigious place and placement in a roster, but maybe sacrificing a bit of that creative freedom. And who knows if that's even really the case too, but that's just, when you look at it for face value, why, someone would choose one company over the other.
Yeah. He probably made the right choice, in all honesty, but based on what we know about him, I kind of agree with you on the ceiling though. Like, I think it's crowded, man. It's really crowded. They could have a second brand at this point. They have enough people to have a second set of titles and a second brand. We still don't know what the other show is going to be on TNT. It's not Dark Elevation. That's something different. But and Dark is literally just everybody they didn't use on Dynamite. Like, they filmed Dark the same night they filmed Dynamite. And the biggest stars on Dark are just the people on Dynamite they didn't use. The Bucks have been on Dynamite. Moxie's been on Dynamite. Like they all end up on there at some point because of it's crowded. I mean, they don't have enough. They still can't feature the women's division well enough, and yet they bring in Ethan Page. Whether or not he holds gold in AEW kind of depends on if Josh Alexander ends up there as well. And if Josh Alexander ends up there, then I could see the North winning tag team gold. Now, I've heard his deal is up later this year. I've heard it's a year and a half. I don't know.
I mean, even the fact that they could tease, because they still technically have this kind of partnership between Impact Wrestling and AEW. And even if they tease that, between the weekly episodes of Impact or AEW, I mean, that I mean, that you're absolutely right. AEW does love its tag teams. And that's just me pie in the sky because I love the North and I'd love to see them compete at a really great level in AEW. But that's such a good point. That's probably where the ceiling would be right now. And you're right. If you're a tag team, the ceiling looks a little different for you than as a singles competitor.
Kinda. I mean, FTR held those belts for a whole month before losing them to the Young Bucks. Like, it is what it is. But I just don't know. I just don't know. And I'm going to be interested to see exactly what happens with Ethan Page. You know, when I say down the road, I mean like 3-4 years from now. Because here's the thing, and this will be a whole other topic for a whole other day. We have not hit that point yet where somebody's AEW contract is coming up, and they have to make a decision about where they're going. Most of their deals are for 3 years. And what's going to happen when those 3-year deals are up? Everyone just assumes no one would want to leave, but after 3 years of floundering and being on Dark or whatever, somebody might want to go, right? If you're Ricky Starks and your deal comes up in 2 years from now, and you've been the second, third fiddle, like you become less important than Hook in Team Taz, like you might want to go to NXT. Who knows? Like it's gonna happen. Those jumps are gonna happen. Quick question for you. This was revealed in a very discreet way and has not been focused on whatsoever, but it's a question people still ask. Do you know what MSK stands for?
No.
Right? It's never been revealed. However, when Josiah Williams did his rap song about the NXT or about the Dusty Classic Finals, he referred to them as the must-see kids. And I have a feeling that's what MSK actually stands for and what they came up with. Because why the hell else would you call yourselves MSK? Like, it's just the weirdest.
No, I don't know. It's just,
ever.
There's, I mean, you can't call them anything else at this point. I don't know. I mean,
it works. They're MSK now.
It works. Like the fact that we don't really need an explanation to it. I think.
No, we really don't. It'll probably show up on a T-shirt at some point, and it just never.
Well, I know they have their own merch already.
Yeah, of course they do. It's smart. They won the Dusty Classic. They better have their own merch. If Mauro Ranallo were still there, he would have said it 14 times by now. So, and it would be much more prevalent, but he hasn't. So that's where we are. And where we are is the end of this edition of Chairshot Radio. So there you have it. Ethan Page. It's kind of funny. I talked about this on the Babyface Steel podcast. We now have Ethan Page and Adam Page, Christian Cage and Brian Cage, all running around in AEW. It's time to break up Team Taz and put the Pages and Cages together in AEW. That's the stable we need.
Pages and Cages.
That's what we need so much. All ego all the time. Welcome to AEW. I really hope it works out better for you than we all think it will. And because that's really
prove us
the
wrong.
best shot you have.
Would love to be proven wrong.
She's on Instagram at the hashtag Miranda. I am and she's also on Facebook. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ChairShotGreg. The website's at chairshot.com. Sports entertainment. This is Chairshot Radio. ProWrestlingTees.com/chairshot. Because Miranda's leaning back and yawning, so I couldn't make her do it. That would have been really, really bad. That's going to do it for the Wednesday morning edition of Chairshot Radio. Did you hurt yourself?
I popped my neck.
Oh. It looks like it's the bad version, too.
Don't worry about it.
All right, well, Miranda's going to fix herself and in time for the hashtag Miranda show. Thank you for listening. Tune in tomorrow as Ray Cash and Darren Max Kirkby bring you Thursday Head Trauma Thursdays on Chairshot Radio. Until then, we're going to do what we did last week, except this time you're going to know what we're doing. I'll go first this time, and then you go second. Yes. Until then, 2 things from me. Number 1, be unstoppable. Number 2, always use your head. And Miranda, number 3?
Don't forget to keep it soft style.
A little less conversation, a little more action, please. All this aggravation ain't satisfaction.
TheChairShot.com. Always use your head.